What's up, everybody? Captain Cody Davis here of Tight Splice Charters, and just wanted to sit down for a little bit today and try to shoot a video here regarding a topic that I've seen that lately that seems like it's kind of been trending on social media, and possibly, it's definitely something that's really been trending and being talked about throughout the course of the 2023 tournament season on all the major tournament trails when it comes to bass fishing. But it seems like maybe now, since the tournament year is over, I've seen a lot of things flowing through social media pages from different pros on both circuits, asking us fans for our opinion and just putting feelers out there. So now it kind of seems like maybe this was something that was talked about, but might be, coming into play for certain. And basically what it is I've seen a lot of pros posting videos out there in regards to if us fans would like to see the banning or the non-use of forward-facing sonar in major tournaments, whether it's on the MLF side with the Bass Pro Tour or the Elite Series tournaments. And I put my 2 cents on there, and I go through the comments and listen to what people say, but I feel like in today's world, especially, not just in when it comes to fishing, with everything in life, everyone fails to stand back and look at the big picture with everything and give an honest opinion that doesn't help their personal agenda. They just say what they say, and you're not going to change their mind, and they don't stand back and really just take it all in and think about being in this person's shoes, thinking about what this consequence is going to be. They just like to spit out their opinion, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Now, keep in mind, I am not a professional angler. For those of you that don't know who I am a full-time fishing guide out here on Lake Okeechobee. All right. I do fish, the BFLs, the ABAs, and the Toyota series and things like that. But my livelihood doesn't revolve around, entering $5,000 tournaments and traveling the country trying to catch these bass. Okay. So it doesn't really affect my livelihood one way or the other. But, I fish Lake Okeechobee. I primarily fish it every day. I don't really feel the need to go fish other lakes. I have and I do. For the most part, I'd say 95% of my fishing is done on this body of water. A, because I live right behind, around the corner from it. B, it's where I make my living. I guide on it every day. I fish all my tournaments out there. And also, it just fits what I like to do. I'm a shallow water guy. I like heavy braid. I like a flipping stick or a frog rod in my hand. That is what I like to do. Keep in mind, I literally do not own, I shouldn't say that. I don't have a graph nor a screen on my boat at all. I run a 2022 Blazer Ultimate Bay boat. I still have a hand control trolling motor, and I don't have a graph on the boat. I own 3. They're in my garage, in boxes. I've just never installed them because I just don't feel like taking the time to do it. And B, this is where I fish. I know this lake like the back of my hand. I just don't, I don't need it. Once I start traveling again, yes, I'll obviously put them in. But with that being said, I was, going out on a limb to say, traditionally, Lake Okeechobee is not an electronic-friendly lake. You're fishing thick grass, heavy vegetation, and things like that. But if you look back at the beginning of 2023, I believe it was the first Elite Series event that was here. It was won in the river using forward-facing sonar. Okay, it was. Now, with the thing with forward-facing sonar, in my opinion, is it has a time and a place on every fishery. It has, a way that it could be useful to the angler, whether you're going to specifically catch the fish looking at your screen or not. And I have a lot of very good friends that fish in some of the higher level tournaments. I'm friends with some of the pros. And there are just so many mixed feelings and mixed opinions when it comes to forward-facing sonar, whether people like it. And it seems like what the pros have been putting out there for a tally and for a survey is, and it's probably, if I had to take a guess, it's some of the people within the leagues or within the, the upper management of these tours asking the pros to do this so that they can get a full survey as to if they really should ban forward-facing sonar. Is viewership down? Is things along those lines. And I go through the comments and read all that stuff, like I said. But again, you really need to take a step back and look at what you're talking about and not just spit what you're thinking of at that second. So, um, first off, in my opinion, no, I don't think they should ban it. Now, with that being said, do I like watching it? No, I don't. But um, when Kyle Welcher is fishing for $100,000 for his angler of the first angler of the year trophy, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't give a damn if Cody Davis eating popcorn, drinking a 2 liter of Mountain Dew with his feet up on the couch watching live cares if he doesn't care if that gentleman is watching him live or is bored watching him live. If Patrick Walters is catching him on a jerkbait and he's got 3 fish behind his jerkbait and he's staring at that screen, I don't think he cares if such and such, who's working out in the gym watching live turns it off because he's using live scope. It is their job, it is their livelihood to put the fish in the boat, okay, and to catch bass and catch the 5 biggest bass each day and win their tournaments for their salary stake and for their sponsors' sake. Okay, that is what their job entitles. And in that game, if there's 100 anglers in the tournament and one of them has forward-facing sonar, you are at a disadvantage if you don't have it, because you need to have all the tools available to you that your competition has, or else it's almost an unlevel playing field. Now, with that being said, I know what you're going to say. Well, if you ban it, then no one's going to have it, and it's an even playing field. That's fine, and it's true. But you really got to think about what you're doing there. First of all, let me just say this: I do guide on Okeechobee, okay. There I do have a lot of instances where I take customers in their own boats, and every customer I take nowadays has some sort of forward-facing sonar on the boat, whether it's live from Humminbird, whether it's Active Target by Lowrance, or if it's I don't even know what the Garmin one is, but whether it's that one. I've used them all, and they're all great. One thing I'm going to tell all of you that don't want to believe it: just because you have that, just because you have the pot of fish located in front of your boat, does not mean you're going to catch them. It is much, much, much more difficult than it's made out to be. Keep in mind, when you see these guys doing this on TV, on the Elite Series, and they're catching fish, throwing at them, those are already the best anglers in the world doing it. That's not me. That's not the guy that wins your club tournaments. That's Patrick Walters, that's Kyle Welcher, that's Brandon Cobb, that's Greg Hackney, that's Jason. Those are the best in the world doing it, okay? And coming from experience, have I caught fish on Active Targets? Yes, I've caught many. But I'm here to tell you, it is not as easy as these guys make it out to be. Even some of the other YouTube people, like the Josh Joneses, the Ben Millikins, okay? They were some of the first people to take in and learn the technology. All right. Now, here's the deal also. It's not easy to do. The guys make it look easy, but I'm telling you, it's not. There's a science behind it, just like anything, just like flipping a jig, just like skipping a dock. And I can't help but notice that a lot of the people that are posting the videos asking if we should ban the forward-facing sonar are the people that don't traditionally use it. Now, before you jump down my throat, the guys that don't use it, those are my guys. I'm a Hackney guy. I'm a Matt Herron guy. I'm a Gerald Swindle guy. I'm a Jason Christie guy. I'm a shallow water, flipping stick in hand, don't finesse them, power fisherman. Again, I fish on Lake Okeechobee, all right? But there is no difference. Man, like it's not Patrick. I'm just going to use Patrick Walters because he just won the last event of the year, and he also won on Fork years ago. Was probably the first Elite Series win on forward-facing sonar was Patrick Walters. He embraced the technology as soon as it came out and learned it. It is not his fault that some of the guys didn't do that what he did. He saw that this was a new thing. He just took it in his mind that this was going to be the next biggest thing. He got it and he learned it. Granted, He's sponsored by an electronics company. Yes, it's probably free to him. Me and you watching this, it's probably not free. All right. It's a lot of money for the technology. But for the other 80 anglers, it probably is free. All right. They're all sponsored by big electronic companies. If it's not free, it's at a discounted rate, whatever. They all have it available to them. He embraced it. He learned it in the off season. He took his time to learn how to do it. And you cannot fault him for that, that other guys are behind. I heard Matt Herron say it on a podcast recently, that he is 2 years behind the curve when it comes to that. That's no one's fault but his. Okay, there, and I get it. We as anglers, it is boring. But I'm going to tell you another thing. I don't ever watch smallmouth fishing. I can't stand it. I think it's stupid. I think it's boring. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that jump down my throat. Well, you've never used it. You've never done it. You've never seen how fun it is. Well, I'm going to say the same thing to you guys, some of you, about LiveScope. Maybe half the people saying you should ban it have probably never even looked at through a transducer on your screen and seen it at work. Probably never been on a boat that's had it. You probably don't personally have it, I'm going to guess. And you're just saying stuff because you don't have it. But at the same time, if you were to go to the gas station and buy a Slim Jim and a Mountain Dew and buy a $5 scratch off and hit for 10 grand, you might go buy one, and then the next day you're on the forward-facing Sonar bandwagon. Again, coming from someone who doesn't have it. But I've played with it. I've seen it. It's not easy to do. And there's guys that have legitimately mastered it. They're masters at it. Just like Gerald Swindle masters skipping a dock. So you mean to tell me if these newer anglers, right, keep playing with their forward-facing sonar, right, keep playing with it, they learn it, they dial it in better than anybody ever will. Eventually these fish get conditioned that they're sitting out there offshore, they're suspended. These fish are getting, they're getting pressured out there, all right? And then the shallow bite starts to turn back on more than it ever has because those fish are being less pressured, which I've heard is slightly happening. And Gerald Swindle goes on a 3-tournament streak where he gets top threes. Wins his first Elite Series event, and gets 2 top 3 finishes skipping boat docks. Well, these people have, because of the way fishing has gone, they're not practicing skipping. They're out deep, all using spinning reels, all using whatever the new suspended soft plastic worm rigs are that they're using, and they can't catch them out there. Well, now they go to the docks and they just flat out forgot how to skip. They can't skip boat docks. They can't flip trees. Are they going to put out a poll that says, should skipping be illegal? Should skipping docks be banned in the Elite Series? Should, Matt Herron goes out and wins 2 tournaments back to back flipping a hand-tied jig that he makes in his garage. He wins 2 of them. Some guys can't flip a jig. They just can't. Some guys can't. All right? Are they going to ban flipping a jig because it's the newest best thing? No, that sounds ridiculous. Well, so does banning forward-facing sonar. Now, I can get it. There's 2 reasons for it. I think it's A, some of the anglers complaining that they're behind the curve and they don't want to embrace the technology and go out and learn it. But I think the main reason of it is they're probably having less people tune in because it is boring to watch. But in my opinion, I don't think it's any more boring to watch than someone throwing a chatterbait. You see them throw the bait out there, and you see them hook the fish, and you reel it in. There's no topwater strike. There's no giant hook set. So now what they could do, as I've heard people mentioning, put a live showing of what the angler is looking at on their unit on the screen, which I believe they did do for the Classic. They could work into that. Maybe viewership would go up. And I think it's viewership. I think maybe there are fewer viewers tuning in to those tournaments where LiveScope is dominant. I keep calling it LiveScope, but forward-facing sonar is dominant. But how are you going to default or handicap an angler who's fishing for his livelihood, fishing for $100,000, who paid the $5,000, the $40,000 in entries at the beginning of the year, and is $80,000 in the hole at the end of the year through travel, fuel, lodging, all that. How are you going to handicap him because of someone sitting on their couch eating snacks who doesn't want to watch it? Again, it goes back to money. It goes back to viewership and stuff. I don't think they should do it. Do we want to watch it? Possibly not. But you shouldn't. You can't take that tool away from those anglers. You got to remember, guys. Power poles were the same way. All right. When power poles came out, people said that was cheating. When spot lock trolling motors came out, people said that was cheating. When side scan came out, people said that was cheating. Now, all of you watching this probably have power poles, a spot lock trolling motor, and side scan on your boat. It's because it's just evolving. And I'll tell you what, this forward-facing sonar is a complete Freddie Flintstone technology compared to what's going to be out here in 5 years. It's just the way it's going. It doesn't mean the fish are going to adapt. It's not going to hurt the fisheries. The fish are going to adapt. They're going to change the way they move. And the shallow bite, like I said, I've heard it's already starting to happen. I was talking to Brandon McMillan the other day, and he did bring up a good point when it comes to it. This is something else to think about, is it is hurting the industry in a different way. Bait caster sales are down. Tungsten sales are way down. Flipping hooks, flipping baits are way down. Jig sales are way down because everyone's on this new trend. All right, so they're all going after their spinning reel sales are way up, spinning rod sales are way up, light braid sales are way up. You see what I'm saying? Top water sales are way down. There's definitely a little niche going on, and I told him, I said that's crazy to hear, but it's not going to last forever. It's just not. The fish will adapt. Out here on Lake Okeechobee, we could tell you, like, speaking of Brandon, I'll plug him. He set the record. He had 106 pounds for 4 days of fishing out here back in whatever year it was. He should have had well over that. He had some faulty equipment at one time and broke off 3 giant fish each day of the event. He should have had, I don't know, I'm going to say 120 pounds or something. And he never made a cast in 4 days. Every fish was caught flipping a mat. You can't win a tournament flipping mats on this lake anymore. You just can't do it. Fish adjust, fish adapt to the changing times. And I encourage everybody who's hating on forward-facing sonar to really just take a chill pill and like relax. Like, there's people that just absolutely hate it. People get on my boat and they're like, "Oh man, I'm glad you don't have that forward-facing crap on there. It's going to ruin fishing." That's ridiculous. That's the same people that watch like mixed martial arts or the UFC and they start booing when there's wrestling involved. No one's swinging hammers and striking. Yeah, it's not as sexy, but those are the same people that'll tell you that the guys that are on the ground wrestling aren't showing any skill or effort. You have no idea how hard that is to do. And that guy's getting his ass kicked doing it. You're a casual. You want to see the fireworks. You want to see the frog blow up. You want to see the spook get trashed by a 9-pounder on fork. But that doesn't take any less or more skill than someone catching a 7-pound smallmouth or largemouth on forward-facing sonar. And I just think a lot of people don't look at it that way. Again, let me know what you guys think. Is it a little bit boring to watch? It can be, but no one said it was boring when Patrick Walters was catching 30 pounds off of those suspended fish off those trees in Lake Fork a while ago. It has a time and a place. It's not going to win everywhere. It's not. And eventually, somebody like a Matt Herron or Gerald Swindle is going to hit the mother lode on the bank, and they will win. And at the same time, those shallow water fishermen, they have it at their disposal. It's there. They have it in the palm of their hands. It's not the other anglers' fault that some of those anglers didn't embrace the technology and get out and learn it. I don't know. And again, I mean, you see, I wear Gerald Swindle's bracelet every day of my life. He's one of my favorite guys out there, not just for fishing, for many other reasons. And I'm a shallow water power fisherman guy, but you can't take away something out of this person's arsenal who's mastered a technique. I just feel like that's not right. Where these guys were practicing the shallow water thing for the last 2 years, this angler's been out here practicing and mastering the forward facing sonar technique. And now you take that away from him, you just put him 2 years behind these guys. And I just feel like that's not right. If you like to flip, you like to frog, you like to swim bait, you like to buzz bait, go do it. If you're that confident in it, then you should be able to figure it out and find fish that can beat the people offshore fishing those suspended fish with the forward facing sonar. So, and there's guys that can do both. There's guys that are very good at both. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. This is kind of a touchy subject, but I think it's something that needs to be said. It's I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. I can't help but think a lot of the people that are against it are the people that are getting beat by it. You know what I mean? And that's what's kind of weird, and that just seems like not right. Because I'm telling you, that opens the door. Once they ban a technique, I can go into a whole other thing about this, but I'm not going to. That has nothing to do with fishing. But once you give them that little in to ban a technique or ban something with a little asterisk next to it, you've opened the door for them to just ban stuff later on. They're going to ban the use of braided fishing line. Are they going to ban the use of, you know what I mean, like power poles? Like it's going to go on and on and on. I know that sounds stupid, but there's no difference between braided fishing line or high dollar fluorocarbon than to forward facing sonar. It's just another tool that doesn't work all the time, and it's not just you throw it out there and hit them in the face and they eat it. There's definitely a skill and a science to it. So you got to be careful what you wish for. And you know, my advice to you guys, anyone who is looking to go out and try to compete at the pro level, embrace it, use it, learn it. That's my favorite part about getting in customers' boats that have it, is learning it. I get to learn it. I get to get paid to learn it. And it's amazing what you learn staring at that thing. You know, fishing places in Okeechobee where I thought the fish sat here. I've been there 9-10 times at forward facing, and they actually sit over here. They set up here. You don't, the stuff you can learn with it if you really just stop complaining about it and do it is it's really fascinating, and it's crazy. I think it makes me a better fisherman. Realistically, I do. But either way, let me know what you guys think. Just wanted to shoot this video. I'm hoping they don't ban it. I don't really like watching it as much, but that doesn't, my opinion doesn't matter. It's not my livelihood. I don't pay the entry fee. They do. And if those guys want to keep it, I definitely think they should. You're seeing a lot of fish get caught, a lot of big fish, and it's made a lot of heroes out of guys that have embraced it and done the homework and done it. So let me know what you guys think. You know, like and subscribe to my channel. If you guys are against forward-facing sonar, or you just want to see nothing but power fishing and thick vegetation, that's what we do here on Okeechobee. If you want to book a trip, let me know. My information is in the description below. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Tie lines, guys. Take it easy.